Buenas tardes, Alicante. Okay, I'm Miquel. I'm engineer and manager at Landbot. I love riding bicycles. I'm from Barcelona. For everybody who is wondering what's that, that's my real last name. So that's it. Today, we are going to talk about passwords, but something even better. We are going to work about a way to get rid of them. So first, what is a password? A password is a secret or a phrase that is used to gain admission to a place. This is like the regular definition. Sorry. But for me, it's something that I know and that proves to the others that I am who I am. 90% of the time, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who has used these passwords at least once in your life? Wow, that's a bunch of liars there. Okay, this is Alan. I don't know how to pronounce it. I will do it in Spanish. Scher. Okay. This person, this picture is from the 60s, about 60 years again, back in time. Back on those days, he was doing a PhD on the MIT. He was researching about time sharing, operating systems, and all this kind of stuff. They had one system that had one user and one password, and they had a limited amount of resources. And Mr. Allen wanted to run some simulations there. Basically, his simulations were too heavy, and he didn't have enough resources, so instead of improving his simulations, he basically hacked the system. It's basically what we do daily, like instead of improving our queries, just put a bigger database there in place. Okay, so he began to understand how the system worked, and he found a folder with a file that it was written terces, that it's secret, like reverse it, and he found out that all users and passwords were stored there in plain text, so he basically gave him access, admin access, so he could run his own simulations. More or less 60 years later, we haven't learned anything. The only solution we have come through is get real difficult passwords that are easy to guess to computers. So instead of being password something that we know, why don't we change it to something that we have? Why don't we change it to, for example, receiving an SMS and putting the code, or getting an email with a link so we can get into other site? Yeah, that won't work. Basically, emails are not secure, SMS are not secure, so we need to change our paradigm once more. Instead of passwording something that we know or something that we have, why don't we make them something that we are? Let me introduce you to passkeys. But what is a passkey? Basically, passkeys, based on the FIDO standards, passkeys are a replacement for passwords that provide faster and easier access to more, really long, you can read it, no problem, but I can prefer my definition. Passkeys is a marketing term coined by Apple, Google, the FIDO Alliance, all these kind of things that represents multi-device FIDO keys, basically public-private encryption keys that are stored in the cloud somehow, or in a device, whatever you prefer. And it's easy to use, easy to work. So what does it mean to our users? Basically, our users will enjoy a better security because they are not going to have passwords anymore. They cannot put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They cannot put the same password for every site because passkeys are unique by design per service. At the same time, the process to use them is super intuitive. It's built onto something that the users have been already using, like your fingerprint, your Face ID, or even just tapping a device into a computer. It has support in all platforms. It doesn't mind if you're using Windows, Linux, or Apple in this case. And the best thing you can have is that it's completely not susceptible to use it. You cannot do a phishing attack on passkeys because the user doesn't have access to the passkey. So it's awesome. So yeah, passkeys are great. And how are we going to implement? Basically, if you are in the web world, you will use WebAuthn. WebAuthn is a protocol that was accepted in 2019, more or less, by... It's supported nearly everywhere, 95%, 96%, yeah, it's okay. And it's super easy to implement. Let me teach you how to implement it. Basically, before starting to put graphs and things, we are going to know which actors we have in the play. First, the authenticator device. It could be your mobile phone, a YubiKey, your computer, whatever. Then we have the browser you're going to use, and the user. We say the user because the user takes a really important place on this play, because basically he's going to use his fingerprint, his face, or whatever to verify that you are you. And then we have the relying party. It's a weird name. It is how it is called in the protocol, but the relying party is your server. The server that is going to be responsible for authenticating and authorizing your site, but also the same thing is going to give your website there. So let's start. What happens when a user comes to your site and wants to register? As you can see, this is like the typical register form, but we don't have passwords anymore because we are not going to need them. So basically, the user enters his email, a super normal email, and then clicks on sign up. And when I'm clicking on sign up, the browser will tell the relying party that we want to start the registration process. Basically, we will send him the username. And the relying party will generate a unique challenge, a random string. You can do it like lots of different things. And we'll prepare some options. These options, the browser will send them to the authenticator. These options could be, do you want to be authenticated with your face or not? What kind of encryption do we want to use? Can you reuse a different passkey for the same site? All these kinds of options. This authenticator device will ask for the user if he wants to be sure that you want to register, and then it will generate a set of keys, one private key, one public key, and we'll sign the given challenge with the private key, and then send it to the browser, send it to the relying party, and basically the relying party will check the public key and the signed challenge, and if everything matches, the user will be already registered. Awesome. But we also want to log in. So the process is quite similar. We put our username. It's the only thing you need to remember. You are not going to remember the passwords, but username probably. And then, same process. Get the challenge. The relying party will prepare a challenge with the same options as I told you before. Send it to the authentication device. The authentication device will ask for authorization or a direct action to the user. And then, basically, we will sign the challenge. The relying party will check that the challenge matches with the public key he has already stored. And we are logged in. It's kind of tricky, I know. But we can try it. If you want, you can scan the code. Basically, I will put the website there. Pinky promise that I will not use your passwords or whatever you insert here to send you an email. If tomorrow some Nigerian prince wants some money, just send him. Just saying, okay, let me check where is my, yeah. Let's do a register. Basically, it's the same thing we had before. I put an email, real email at nigerianprince.s, and clicking on sign up. And yeah, basically with the power of my finger, yeah, perfect. This is the only information that our server or our relying party will have. The email, the credential ID, it's an internal ID, like typical database ID, and then the public key. And then, do you want to try the other way around? Let's do a login. Real email at Nigerian prince is. Oh, I forgot the email. I don't know what I did here. Nigerian. I don't know. Let's try with hi at React Alicante. Amen. Well, you have to trust me. It's just putting the finger and that's it, right? Okay. You can try it in your own device if you want. And then, does it mean that we can get rid of passwords tomorrow? No. Unfortunately for us, not yet. And this is crazy because this technology works. It's super easy to use. But I've tested it with real people, like my parents and wife and things. And the first phrase, it was like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. It looks like it's sketchy. Okay, so the only thing we can do, and this is a homework I put you for the next year, I will ask you next year if you have done it in your companies, is go back on Monday, go to your product people, and ask them to implement passkeys in your sites. People like GitHub, Google, and things, they are already doing. So thank you very much. You can contact me at that email. This is information you can use on Monday. You can find me here, ask me questions, and whatever you need. Thank you.